Shoryukens, single mRNA, hybridization, and surveys. You can get it all here on the Impact Factor. Welcome to the show. The Impact Factor is what happens when two scientists, and two best friends, get together to talk about video games. My name is Alex Samocha, and I'm joined this week, as I am every single week here on the Impact Factor, by the guy who is finally donning his rich, dulcet tones to gameplay on Twitch, my co-host, Charles Fliss.
Yeah, man. Sorry, that was terrible. That was creepy. I was trying to do
I don't
dulcet
know.
tones, but it didn't work at all.
That was like the weakest dulcet tone I've ever heard.
That was awful.
Yeah, man. I'm
well,
hey
now. I could get low.
Here's my gameplay.
You're doing Rick and Morty out here?
Why you going on this Twitch here?
Look, come on, Alex. I just want to stream.
Well, maybe, if you weren't so terrible, it wouldn't be an issue.
Oh, but it's not my fault. I never get time to play Rocket League. I'm always recording podcasts.
That's pretty good. That's good. And scene.
All right. That was solid. But you know what? You know what's bigger news than me starting streaming? Bigger news than anything else we're going to talk about on today's show?
Bigger news than our burgeoning career as terrible voice actors, as low-tier voice actors?
Hey, man, there's no money to be made in that. We're ready to go for that.
Oh, yeah, because we're clearly making so much money with this podcast about video games. If anything, I'm considering options on how to lose money on this podcast.
You mean you haven't already come up with those? I'm pretty sure we have a list in the show doc.
I'm pretty sure it's there. But okay, what is this groundbreaking news that we're talking about?
Ryu, the man of the Street Fighter universe, the face of Street Fighter. Ryu has grown a beard. Dude, we have our Halloween costumes done. And hey,
I know.
Thinking about that, right? What's better than one hot Ryu? Two hot Ryus.
Ooh, hot Ryu. Man, he's hot. You seen the pics? That DLC costume? Hot Ryu is very hot. And he's a good guy, too. Yeah, so hot. Oh, man, I'm thinking of all these. There's these great tweets when Hot Ryu was announced. Again, just to contextualize this for anyone who doesn't follow the moment-to-moment action of the game industry, or specifically Street Fighter. Street Fighter announced some pre-order bonuses. One of the DLC, one of the pre-orders is you get a skin for a character. They do this all the time. And the one from GameStop is this bearded Ryu. And everyone was saying how he's Hot Ryu, and it became this whole Twitter meme where Hot Ryu's this great boyfriend. One of them I saw, I think from Gita Jackson, who's a freelance writer who's on Match 3 podcast, which is exceptional. She's like, Hot Ryu, Hot Ryu sees you getting harassed by a drunk dude at the bar, and FAD sees his way in there to intercept.
Oh, that's awesome.
When I was in the shower this morning, I'm like, Hot Ryu always got the Valentine's Day option select ready. He's got the quiet dinner at home or dinner reservations out.
I'm just laughing about you getting into the shower and the hot water comes pouring down. And you're just like, I'm gonna think about Hot Ryu for a while.
I haven't stopped thinking about Hot Ryu.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. That makes two of us. I'm pretty sure the only thing that could make him hotter would be a man bun. No man buns. I think he's perfectly fine. You know, though, Justine does not think he's very hot. She thinks he looks too much like Chuck Norris. I think probably Hot Ryu is in that uncanny valley for her, where he looks just enough like you, but he's not you, that it freaks her out. Mm-hmm. I probably shouldn't have said that on air.
Everyone knows I look like Hot Ryu.
Don't let her listen to this podcast.
Oh, God. Yeah. Hot Ryu may special cancel into critical art, but he never cancels on date plans.
But that makes him a better boyfriend than you, doesn't it?
Heyo.
What?
Oh, Fliss with the zingers. Bazinga, as all you nerds say.
Whoa.
No, I'm gonna blow my brains out if I ever have to
before you wreck yourself, because
if I ever have to see a snippet of that show on TV again, I'm going to freaking blow my brains out.
Yeah, man. Dude, do not make any Big Bang Theory references on this podcast.
I'm just saying, if anybody listens to Big Bang Theory, or watches Big Bang Theory and listens to this podcast, get out!
of watching The Big Bang Theory, please continue to listen.
Yeah,
to
no,
the
no,
show.
no, yeah, not on the podcast.
We already are like losing Justine's listenership for this episode, so that I don't die. Like, we can't afford to lose any more listeners.
Oh no!
So please stay
right,
with us. But if you are watching The Big Bang Theory, look at your life, look at your choices, because some of them have gone terribly wrong.
Some of them have been egregiously in error.
Fortunately, among the many other entertaining things we can do here on the Impact Factor, we can help you set that life back on track, at least.
Exactly. You're on the path of righteousness now that you're listening to this show.
Yeah, so that should make you feel better. Reassure you a little bit.
That should make you feel better. I mean, who wouldn't be reassured by that?
Yeah, man. You're Hot Ryu, the voice of Hot Ryu.
Got the voice of two Hot Ryus here.
Here to bring you back to the path of righteousness.
I know, the church of the Impact Factor. The gospel of impacting. I don't know. That sounds really sexual.
That sounds like the intro to like a terrible porno.
We'll penetrate your hearts and souls.
Yeah, man. We're putting you on the godly, righteous, and sober path, or at least the righteous path.
At least one of those things.
Yeah.
All right, folks. We're having a good time. We hope you stick around for an awesome, jam-packed megasode we've got today. That's a new catchphrase. Megasode. All right, it's pretty good. I know, right? Sounds like some giant robot or something.
I am the megasode.
Oh, he got in his megasode.
Yeah,
right?
I like that.
A little Megas XLR, you know?
Yeah, man.
That's so from back in the day.
Yeah, dude.
It's the best mech robot anime was made in America. I'm gonna say it.
Whoa!
Anyway, the Impact Factor. I'm moving past.
You're not moving past that one. No, you're baiting me. All right, fine. Tell them what the Impact Factor is. You have not heard the end of this.
Despite as goofy as it's been, the Impact Factor is where I bring my perspectives as, I guess, a gamer, but as a biomedical scientist, and combine them with, and usually against, Fliss's social scientist worldview to have great discussions about video games. But as I'm sure you can tell, above all, we're two long-time friends giving each other a little ribbing. Penetrating each other. All right, let's get it started right away with some news and views.
News and views.
In an academic journal, News and Views collects the best of recent events and findings. Here, Fliss and I scour through the week in video game news to find the stories with the biggest impact. So Fliss, come on, just make your way, push your way forcefully through these stories. Which one was the most impactful?
All right, man. Well, I'd like to thrust a story right into your face.
Okay, God.
In a little bit of...
This non-explicit rating on iTunes is quickly dissolving away.
A little bit of vengeance for your mech anime blasphemy earlier. I want to tell you about the Borderlands movie.
What about it? What makes you not excited? All right, tell the folks. So PAX Prime happened this last weekend. Actually, it went through until Monday. I don't know if that's a typical thing, but anyway, PAX Prime. It's the biggest PAX, the originator, Penny Arcade Expo. The thing is, it's a con that's very focused on getting the fans experience and hands-on with games and meeting with developers, because so many other of the industry's events are just that. They're industry events. You have to be working in some sort of sector, either game developer, publisher, affiliated company, or journalist to be able to get in. Unless you're like me and kind of convince people that being a PhD biomedical scientist is reason enough to let you into GDC as a student.
Yeah, we're gonna keep running with that because we need our inside man. But that's right. PAX is such a great way for the fans to get involved. I really appreciate that. I just love getting all the announcements from PAX, because PAX is when they make so many of these little, like, fun announcements, things that are not like shake up the industry, but are just like, here's something that we're doing for the fans. And something that they are supposedly doing for the fans is making a new movie based off a great video game. Tell us about Borderlands, Alex. You really like Borderlands, right?
I love Borderlands. So it's a game that I was initially very excited about. This is way back when I first saw it announced, and it had like kind of a gritty, realistic aesthetic. And then as it evolved over time, we all know it came to be this cel-shaded kind of goofy, dark comedy, kind of comic booky look that it has now. But to me, it's a perfect hybrid of everything that I like. It has comedy, it has dark, kind of graphic comedy. It is a sci-fi game, it is a shooter, and it is an open world, and it is an RPG, and it is one of those shoot and loot games, a schluter, as sometimes, or maybe I'm just going to don that myself. It's a schluter. So you're constantly getting this new gear, because I love that.
So do you schloot your way right through it?
Yes, I salute my way when I throw it. But yeah, you're constantly getting new and better guns, and it's crazy, and you've got the randomized, there's, thousands or millions of gun combinations. But above all, like, the more I've played it, the more I've been really ensconced in its universe. The first game didn't really have much of a story. Like, the stories are whatever, but, like, the characters and the universe are interesting. And it's become increasingly personal to me, because I played the first one myself and went through it and platinumed it and beat all the DLC. But then, starting with Borderlands 2...
Just dropping that, right? Oh, I platinumed it, drop.
But starting with Borderlands 2, Justine and I had been wanting to play a game together for a long time. And so I got her interested enough in Borderlands. I said, hey, it'll be fun. We just kind of goof around and shoot stuff. And we played the crap out of that game. We played split-screen co-op. We played for probably like 120 hours, if not. We played through the game twice. We played through a lot of DLC. And then we played through the game as a third time with a different class. So, like, we played a ton of that game. And then we played the Borderlands as pre-sequel. And then we are now still playing through Borderlands... Tales from the Borderlands, a Telltale kind of take on the universe, and all of it's great. All of it. So, that's a long-winded way of saying, I really like the characters, I really like the universe.
So, you should be really excited then about Lionsgate announcing a movie, right? Especially given that they've got people that were involved with the X-Men and Spider-Man series, right? Because those turned out so well.
Hey, Spider-Man 1 and 2 are good. And X-Men 2 is good, and X-Men 1, it kicked off the superhero movie kind of craze.
X1 is worth watching just because of Sir Patrick Stewart and Sir Ian McKellen.
What happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning?
I'm not even going to dignify that with a response.
It's so bad.
But you're right.
The same thing as everything else.
No, but you're right in this in this instance. I see you're dropping some biomedical science on us. Well, Alex, tell us what does happen to a toad if it's struck by lightning.
The same thing as everything else. Duh. Well, actually, the electrical pulses will go in, and not only does the heat from the electricity is going to destroy cells and the lyse cells. Release
I'm sorry I asked.
The one time I can bring my perspective in. As a biomedical scientist. But yeah, no, they're bringing on... Lionsgate is getting very kind of more deeply involved with video games. They have that partnership announced a while ago with Telltale, and they're creating this kind of combinatorial media experience, whether it's like a movie and a game or a movie TV series and a game all linked together. I forget, they had some sort of buzzword term they invented for it, like new media or something. But now they're even, kind of going further into this. I mean, they've been doing video game and comic book stuff for a while. Like Seventh Son was apparently based off of some comic book, and that movie looks awful. Sorry, I've just been seeing ads on it on TV. But yeah, Lionsgate is bringing in Avi and Ari Arid, again, who are like producers behind X-Men and Spider-Man, to make a Borderlands movie. And you asked, am I excited? And the answer is no, because all video games movies suck. And I honestly, I know this is probably short-sighted, like this is what people say before, like, well, there could never be a good comic book movie. But I honestly don't think there could ever be a good video game movie.
But you didn't like Prince of Persia?
No. I do like Jake Gyllenhaal, but I did not like that movie.
I know you like Jake Gyllenhaal.
I mean, he's great. He's great. Nightcrawler? He's really good.
That's fair. That's fair. No.
Dude can act crazy, at least. I'm not sure if he can act, like, well, period, but he can act like a crazy person pretty well.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. But he does carry a lot of the movies he's in. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm not excited. Actually, I'm not excited in like a man, this is gonna be a great movie kind of way. I am excited in like this is gonna be a terrible movie kind of way. I'm like waiting to see exactly how bad this is. As a connoisseur of awful movies, I cannot wait to see this.
The thing is, I think it's hard because comedy is, anybody like in movies or whatever says comedy is like one of the hardest things to do right. And I think a Borderlands movie without comedy is going to be terrible. But the thing is, trying to translate Borderlands as comedy, which is at times, not superb. There's a lot of kind of infantile stuff that makes you giggle while playing. But again, I don't think it really translates. It's the same reason I think the Deadpool movie is going to be god-awful.
I don't know. I'm a little more hopeful.
The Deadpool movie is going to be trash.
I'm a little more hopeful.
I guarantee it. I put the impact factor stamp of disapproval on it. Whoa. No, I'm the controller of the stamp here. The Deadpool movie is going to be complete garbage.
Who gave you the stamp?
I don't know. I made the stamp. I made the stamper.
I didn't even know we had a stamp.
So, I mean, honestly, I think that this Borderlands movie, they're going to try... they're going to do one of two things. They're going to try way too hard to be funny, and it's going to be terrible, or they're going to try and be serious, and it's going to be like a movie inspired by Borderlands, but not be a Borderlands movie. And that could be okay, but I just fear that a movie inspired by Borderlands is not Borderlands. It's just going to be some gritty wasteland movie. It's like, and why would I need that when Mad Max already exists?
Yeah, well, Mad Max has basically shut down any gritty wasteland movie that can come out for like the next 10 years.
Yeah, just stop what you're doing, anyone who's working on a gritty wasteland movie.
Yeah, you've already lost. You're not going to make a better movie than Mad Max. But no, dude, I got a question for you then. Have you seen Knights of Badassdom?
I have not.
Peter Dinklage, kind of a...
Oh, yeah, I heard that was garbage.
Yeah, it's like the plot is like a bunch of LARPers accidentally summon a succubus.
Oh, yeah, it has... What's his face? James Franco, was he in that or something? No,
I don't remember. The point is, I watched it, and that's a movie that exists in the realm that I'm, like, really worried the Borderlands movie will, where it's like you're saying, it's trying way too hard, it's got way too many winks to the audience, it's pandering, which we've railed against on this podcast before. And because of that, like, it takes what could have been a really great bad movie and makes it just, like, a not even fun to watch bad movie. Like, it's a movie that makes you regret turning it on.
Yeah, I mean, God, I'd love to have hope for, movies, because, like, there's been the long gestating Shadow of the Colossus movie. We've seen, I think, like, the one that's making the most progress we've seen recently is the Assassin's Creed movie. Like, honestly, we saw Michael Fassbender recently in a picture in what looks to be the final costume for who he's playing. I'm not sure if he's Ezio or whoever else. I'm not a huge Assassin's Creed fan. But I just worry that all of them, like, I just don't think they work as big budget kind of, like, popcorn action movies. And I think that's what people want them to be, because that's what brings in a lot of money. And so, I mean, it's cool. I'm glad, Gearbox and Randy Pitchford really are trying to make Borderlands like this mega massive IP. And I honestly I'm not sure, as much as it matters to me, I'm not sure how much it matters to, like, the general gaming populace, or certainly to, like, I think going around to people know Mario, people know GTA, but I don't think anybody knows Borderlands, like, in that kind of sense. But who knows? Video games getting even bigger now. They're taking over movies.
Yeah, well, hopefully this will eventually bring us good things. So what about you? What's your big...
Oh, wrap it up.
Oh, yeah.
So why did you choose this as your most impactful story?
Alex is heartbroken by another bad video game movie while Fliss rejoices.
Yeah, okay, well, fair enough. I should never have asked. All right, my most impactful story also comes out of PAX Prime, and this is one that really caught me by surprise. The coverage started coming out, I think it was on Tuesday, and man, it got me from 0 to 100 so fast. I'm so excited, and I'm so happy to share this with you all today. So there's several reports from a game that kind of really took people by surprise at PAX, and this game, Cibele. Sybil is a new game from a level designer at Fulbright. She's currently working on Tacoma. Nina Freeman is her name. So Nina Freeman and a team of, she's with a team of 5 people, and they're kind of doing this as, their free time, nighttime thing, because, daytime she's working at Fulbright on Tacoma, which I'm super excited about. But Sybil looks to be this, it's been described around the web as a game about love, sex, and the internet. And the general premise of it is 2 people who meet in an MMO, Valtameri, which is kind of inspired by Final Fantasy XI, and then they grow close, and they eventually will meet up in person and have sex. We've kind of gotten bits and pieces from the demo that Freeman showed off at PAX, where gameplay has a mix of a lot of different things. It has a simulated desktop where you can interact with opening the MMO client, the Valtameri client, or chatting, through different messaging services, or voice chat, and at the end of this demo, you're interacting with this male character because you're playing as Nina Freeman herself, or her character in this game, Sybil, and eventually it ends with her sending a picture of herself to this person. And so I want to touch on a lot of things here, but I'll have you jump in here, Fliss, now. But I really am intrigued by how autobiographical and authentic this game feels, and how personal and how interesting the story is.
Yeah, man, I think it's incredibly brave of the creator Nina Freeman to be giving us a game like this in which it seems clear that although she's obviously changed things or worked things around, she's still sharing a huge amount of her actual life and her feelings, and at least in everyone's reactions to the game, in the way it looks in the announcement trailer, it seems like that carries through to make a really powerful, touching, engaging gaming experience, which is unlike pretty much anything we've seen before.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the way it's being presented, too, is so smart, and I really appreciate, you can definitely feel Freeman's authorship here. Because she released a prologue for this game, which is just a video of herself as an 18-year-old recording, kind of just in her room or in a room, and talking to the camera. She's still got like her braces on, and it feels so personal. Like you're getting this view into her life, and she's using this game as kind of this as this method to tell the story, this experience that she went through. She said herself in a lot of these interactions that will happen in game, like these chat logs and like live journal posts that are there, bringing people back to live journal days. They're basically copied and pasted from like her own live journal, from these conversations that she had with this guy. I mean, it's a great thing that she's so, I'm going to forget the word, archival with her life, because she has this richness of story and experience there. And that kind of interweaving with reality and the game is, I think, really, really powerful from what I've seen. It's fascinating that, like, throughout the game, there's interspersed video of her from that time period and, like, her thoughts and emotions. And I think, above all, this is really interesting because if there's one thing video games don't do well, and there's a lot of things that they don't do well, but one thing in particular are create stories that feel authentic and feel human. A lot of people have been praising games recently for having better writing, and that's fair. I think games writing has gotten better, but it's really only gotten to the level of maybe like a decent to good TV show. You still don't transcend like some like the greatest in like the film and the novels, the written like novel space. And I think that's partially that's for a lot of reasons, but partially because you don't have these authentic human kind of stories. And I'm really excited to be where Freeman was, because she's putting you in that mindset.
It's really impressive that she's trying to take us into her own mindset, that she's sharing so much of her life, like you said, that she has all these archives to draw from and to give us a real authentic experience. And obviously, we haven't played the game yet. We don't know what it's going to be like. But I can't, without like being too bold, I can't imagine that it will not at least be incredibly engaging and interesting. And we've talked a lot about originality. We've talked about like people clamoring for a new game experience, and this seems like this is giving that. This is bringing a different kind of storytelling. This is exploring using more kinds of media within a game to tell a story. And it's incredible that she's sharing actual videos of herself. I can't imagine what this could lead to in the future, especially if it's successful, if it inspires other people. And it seems like just what's been released so far is already inspiring other people. So this could really open up a different kind of, I don't want to say genre, but like a different style of romance game, and even beyond that, just storytelling game.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the aesthetic is so powerful too. It's got all these pastel, kind of colorful tones, and that's a way I think that's inviting to all people of lots of different spectrums. I think the aesthetic is very appealing, and I think just like the idea of it is so cool. And it was really, really, I mean, I know I said it was before, but it's really unlike anything that I've truly ever seen before. It really caught me off guard when I started seeing the coverage on it, and I really am so thankful that I read through the coverage. And if nothing else, Nina Freeman has a great Twitter handle. Her Twitter handle is HentaiPhD, so I think that's worth noting here. It's a pretty as a PhD candidate myself, I can appreciate her advanced degree, her advanced degree study in hentai. So, I mean, I could go on for the rest of the show, but since, I really am really hopeful that I can get hands-on with this somewhere. But Freeman announced that there's going to be some sort of release date announcement coming soon. So that's definitely a please be excited. Well, not even. That's a be excited moment for me. And I really wanted to bring this to attention because it really caught me by surprise. So, to wrap this up, Sybil looks to be an authentic, personal story. And so, the Sybil is is the story. Sybil, this is by Nina Freeman, and it's an authentic personal stories about anything, but love especially in games is a rarity. And Cibele really looks to be like anything you've ever played before, and that makes me excited because I love when new things come about in games. So that's Cibele. I'm super pumped. That's my biggest game that came out of PAX for me.
Oh man, yeah. Well, that's a tough act to follow, so I won't even make the attempt. I'm just gonna talk about Battlefront.
Hopping on your Battlefront hype train.
Yeah, man. Are you ready? Chugga 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 chugga. Woo woo! Hype train. My hype train is a steam train.
All right, tell the folks about why you're going to make me buy Battlefront.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm definitely going to make you buy Battlefront. All right, so Star Wars Battlefront, it's a large multiplayer first-person shooter style game. It's by EA and DICE. It's being kind of published by EA, designed by DICE. They've done the Battlefield series, so it's got like big names, lots of money, lots of kind of problematic names behind it, but like got some really cool stuff. It's a huge big name game, and we got some more details about it.
What? Oh, continue.
I was saying that gender inequality is a serious problem for the advancement of the American economy, and especially if you compare to Japan, which has even worse problems that are just causing the economy to stagnate and have done that for, looking at 2 decades now, among other factors.
Of course, certainly among other factors.
Right, do I have your attention now?
Yeah, you got my attention.
All right, much better. All right, so I was talking about Star Wars, which, incidentally, I once read a really cool fan theory, speaking of gender inequality in Star Wars, right? Because there's a huge dearth. We're deep diving here into Star Wars.
Okay, we're going into the gender politics of Star Wars.
Well, but if you notice, right, like in Star Wars, there are just like not a lot of women.
Yeah, like none.
Yeah, especially in the original trilogy, which are the only Star Wars movies, in spite of what you may have heard elsewhere.
Even in the prequel trilogy, all you have is Amidala.
The what?
Even in the
yeah, take a minute there.
You got me for a second.
Yeah, I'm proud of that. But no, so anyway, the idea behind this fan theory, right, is that, like, other than the obvious reasons of, like, it's a sci-fi movie, like, why would Jabba the Hutt, who is, like, from what we believe in the fandom to be, like, an asexually reproducing creature, want to have, like, this human female slave around? And the theory is, right, that, like, there's, like, a dearth of human women in the universe. So they're, like, extremely valuable. And so, like, having her there is just, like, a show of, like, wealth and power. I don't know whether you buy it or not. I thought it was interesting. It was a kind of cool fan theory. Kind of a stretch, probably. Probably just, like...
It's certainly a stretch. They just wanted to put her in a freaking bikini.
Yeah, well, of course. But it is a cool way to explain that in-universe.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, so what's the news about Battlefront? You haven't told me anything new.
Oh, okay. Well, they've given us news about the beta. You like betas. You like paying money for betas.
I paid money for a game that I know I'm going to play.
You paid money to be a part of the beta.
Gravy.
Don't lie to the folks. Don't front.
Money. And I haven't paid any money yet. Amazon does not bill until it ships.
I'm just saying, you signed up to pay money for a beta.
Yeah, but I could also cancel that.
Signed up to pay money for a beta. That's all I hear. Anyway, they give us news about the beta for Star Wars Battlefront on both PS4 and Xbox One. That's very exciting. Betas are becoming more of a norm for these big online games, which is really good. DICE has launched some pretty broken-ass games in the past.
Yeah, they have.
So,
Battlefield 4 was a travesty. That game was shipped probably like 6 months too early.
And the the Street Fighter V beta, its like beta 0 was a disaster. I mean, so it's really good to have these betas, because if there's gonna be a disastrous like time of bad online connectivity and long wait times and getting booted from stuff, I want that to happen in a beta. Absolutely, I want that to happen in a beta.
Yep.
So that this is definitely a good sign. I definitely want to be a part of the beta, if at all possible.
They said if you sign up, you should get in. So it's not an open beta in the sense that it's just there, anyone can download it. But I think if you go to some site, I don't know if the site's up, if you put in your info, you will get a beta code. That's what they've said in the forums, but there's been no official statement.
As of when I just checked it this morning, which would have been Wednesday night in the United States,
all right.
the site was not yet up. Or at least I couldn't find it. But that may just be my own inability to find a website. So, checking in.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably more likely.
I mean, unlike my co-host, I'm honest about my failings.
No, I'm a scientist. You gotta know what you don't know. I just know everything, so.
You are omnipotent? What am I thinking about?
Hot Ryu.
How did you know?
Yes!
But, actually, I hate to dampen this festive mood, but they announced something that I'm not at all excited about. In fact, I'm actually kind of upset about. Which is, all
right, tell the folks, dampen the mood.
It's unreasonable. I'm going to be upfront about that. It's unreasonable of me to be upset about this, but they've announced that there might be, there's going to be this companion app. They're, working on a companion app called Base Command, which is supposed to be, a mobile game, a strategic card game, and you can use it to unlock coins that you can use to unlock other stuff in-game or to get just, guns or...
Specifically in-game, in the Battlefront retail
in the battle, yes,
release.
Thank you for clarifying that. And, I downloaded the Fallout companion app, Fallout Shelter, and I think...
Well, that's a standalone app, I'd say.
Yeah.
I don't know if you don't really unlock anything from that.
Right. And hats off to them for, not making you go to an app to unlock stuff. But it's just I played Fallout Shelter for, maybe 10 minutes before I got really bored.
I had a similar experience.
And I feel like this Base Command, it's like clickbait. It's like the game form of clickbait. Oh, you want some extra content in game? Guess you're going to have to download this app and spend a bunch of time clicking in it so that we can show, so many millions of people downloaded our app and the shareholders will be happy. It's just I feel
I mean, it's definitely a shareholder thing, prove interest, and then also, it's a free game, but I'm almost certainly there'll be microtransactions, right? It's a strategic card game, so you imagine it's EA DICE trying to get a little bit on that fat Hearthstone money.
Yeah, and it's just we're going to talk about this later, but I really don't appreciate being jerked around. I have no problem paying my money straight up for a good product. I have no problems paying my money straight up for a product that might be good, because then it was my choice to take the risk. But I do have a problem with getting jerked around, with feeling like my time is being wasted.
I mean, Star Wars has a history of making at least halfway decent card games, so there's a chance this could be... this Base Command game could be at least as compelling as, Gwent in The Witcher or something. Not as deep as something like Hearthstone.
It's an EA mobile game. It's not going to be any good.
I'm just saying, I don't think it's instantly worth writing off. Now, if the guns you unlock in Battlefront are not unlockable by any other way than playing Base Command, then that's where I'm going to get mad. But if it's just extra stuff, who cares?
Here, I need you to hand me the TIF stamp for a minute.
all right. I'm handing it. Going through the motions here, handing over.
You. Yeah, I've got it here. And I'm going to put the TIF stamp on record saying Base Command has just as much chance of being good as the Deadpool movie.
Wow. So 0 is what you're saying.
Boom. Stamped.
All right. Fair enough. Let's just wrap this up on a positive note. It's exciting. The betas are always a good thing.
Yeah. Definitely.
I'm not super thrilled about Battlefront. It's not something that instantly grabs me. But if you're gonna get it, I already made the promise here on the podcast, so people can hold me accountable that I'd play it, I'd get it, and so I could play it with you. And honestly, betas are fun because it feels like you're part of some exclusive group. Haha, no one, the general public isn't playing, but I have my copy right now. I'm so cool. I feel like I'm part of the gaming press or whatever. So
yeah, and we as gamers, we love just getting around and competing for who's more in love with a series, who's more involved, and you'd be like, well. Pushing up my nerd glasses here. I played in the Star Wars Battlefront beta. It's that feels great. I'm not gonna lie, that feels awesome.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll give some stupid little emblem or something, be beta participant or something.
Absolutely, and I will definitely flash that everywhere I possibly can. But yeah, I'm gonna
Fliss flashing other gamers.
This what is this? Just the PG-13 edition of the podcast?
Yeah, we're getting raunchy here.
The impact factor.
We're talking PG-13. About ding dongs.
Gotta be careful. We get one F-bomb, right?
Yeah, right. by one F-bomb being one me trying to scrub through all of your audio so I can delete it.
All right, well, you don't have to scrub this audio because I'm going to lay down an excellent summary of this story. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Beta beckons us towards a better Battlefront game, but a companion app could be dicey.
Oh my god. The alliteration and the puns are too much for that sentence. You worked on that one.
Yeah, I'm pleased with it. I don't think you're going to be able to top me on the best summary sentence of the week. I think I wrapped that one up.
Yeah, you wrapped that one up nicely. All right, let's move on to another story. Again, another one that took me by surprise. I'm not sure if this is PAX related at all, but certainly it came about on Monday, because the last day of PAX or just following PAX, for a game that I'm pretty excited about. So this is my second impactful story here. And this is the announcement of Battle Chasers Night War. Now stick with me. That name is kind of dumb. I'll be fair. That name is kind of not great.
Generic.
Yeah. Vanilla wafer white bread. Generic.
With vanilla cream and mayonnaise.
Yeah, it's God. It's a little bit too much. So this is a kind of a crazy announcement. So this is a new JRPG / Final Fantasy inspired game from the former developers of Darksiders. Darksiders was this franchise last generation. It's kind of a mix of pretty much every fantasy art, but set in a Zelda context. You were dungeon crawling. You played as one of the Four Horsemen. I played the first Darksiders. And it's pretty good. It was honestly, it was just like a Zelda game that had a quasi God of War action, combat system. And so I had a good time with it. The game was fine. I never played 2. The first game you play is War. The second game you play is Death. I never played 2 just because I kind of understood what they were going for, but it didn't really grab me, especially the aesthetic. I don't really kind of like that Blizzard aesthetic anywhere other than Blizzard, and even at times that Blizzard aesthetic kind of makes me groan.
It's all about the pauldrons, baby.
It's all. Oh gosh! But Battle Chasers Night War looks to be this passion project from these guys. So the former developers broke off into a 5-man team, the Madeiras, and created this studio, this Airship Syndicate,
which is a great name.
Go by Airship.
How did they come up with such a great name for their studio and then choose such a lame name for the game?
Well, part of the name of this game arises from his inspiration. So this game is based upon this cult comic that one of the members of the studio did, that he created, and the comic has been dead for 15 years, but still had kind of a small cult following, and still definitely had a little audience around it. And then also the guy still had stuff to talk about it.
It's interesting to
in that universe
that the comic was dead not because of a publisher, but because he walked away from it and didn't really think it was important. But the fans kind of gathered around it. So, like you said, cult is definitely the right way to describe it.
And so Battle Chasers Night War looks to very, very pretty. It's got this comic book art, this hand-drawn, beautiful, rivaling Vanillaware in terms of art. Now, without all the Vanillaware nonsense. And that's Vanillaware games like Dragon's Crown and Odin Sphere and games like that. But it looks to draw very heavily from the JRPGs that they're inspired by. So there's they've got turn-based battles, and you've got from the screens that they've shown. They haven't shown off any gameplay to the public yet, but it looks to have that classic setup of 3 party members standing turn-based battles. But then, again, they're bringing this design sense into a slightly more modern sensibility. There's no random encounters, so every monster you can see on the map, so you can avoid or encounter.
I'm all about it.
So choose. I'm all about it. They have dungeons that are designed specifically for different party characters, so encouraging you to change up your party, not just have your central 3 that you're always going with.
Which is great.
But the game just looks the piece on Polygon that I found is this awesome piece about Joe Maduria, who is one of the creators of this, and really just kind of tracking through the whole history of working with Darksiders, coming to this game. It's going to be on Kickstarter soon. The thing is, what really made it stand out to me is not only the gorgeous aesthetic and not only my love for JRPGs, but JRPGs like this are really few and far between. These are the JRPGs that I grew up with. I was a super RPG head. I played them on Super Nintendo. I played them on PlayStation 1. These very classic JRPG kind of stuff. But you really have not been getting many. In fact, Western developers have kind of started to bear the brunt of keeping this genre alive with games like Child of Light, which are very heavily inspired by that, and which was an exceptional game. You still have Square Enix. They had a recent hit that they're trying to bring back classic elements with Bravely Default and Bravely Second. But there's really used to be the only kind of RPG, and they're everywhere, and they're fun and great, but now you never see them. But Battle Chasers really looks to understand what made those games work and bring that into this universe that they've created, bring it to a modern sense, and have this gorgeous visuals. And I'm excited. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, dude. Oh, I couldn't agree more. I'm so excited about it. I read through that whole Polygon article. I highly recommend people go check that out. It's cool to get to know the developers a little bit. I think these long, in-depth pieces that Polygon has been doing are really one of the best things on the site, and one of the best things in games writing right now. I really, really like reading them. Even games that and studios that I've had no interest in, I learn something every time I read one of those articles. So take the time, read something a little bit more in depth. But yeah, I'm with you there. Those RPGs are great. I love that kind of turn-based stuff. I did a lot of that on handheld. Golden Sun.
Oh, Golden Sun. Yeah, those games are awesome.
Yeah, my brother was right into that too. He was even bigger into it than me. And I got a lot of that Final Fantasy stuff through you guys when we were younger. So I'm really excited about it. I love the aesthetic. I really, really like it. The comic book thing really works for me. The kind of like weird mix of like super low fantasy and super high fantasy that JRPGs have done so well. Like a spice of like steampunk or like sail punk stuff that they do. It seems to be capturing that. It's clear that the creators have a real love for that. And man, just reading this article, it made me feel like, where is this Kickstarter? Because I'm ready to look at it very seriously.
Next week. So by the time you guys hear this, yeah, it should be. If they stay on their schedule, it should be the week starting the 7th of September, the Labor Day weekend in the U.S. through that week. So look out for it. It's one that I hope gets funded at least.
And this leads me to the money question, Alex, because you are a notorious Kickstarter skeptic.
No.
Would this game do it?
Not going to donate. No.
You're not going to help?
No. I'll buy it when it comes out, but I'm not going
to fund it. All right.
Like I said, only Shadow of the Colossus 2. That's the only
game.
Yeah, that's the only game. So we're running out of time here, so let's just do a couple quick hits. Our 2016.
What's our summary?
What?
What's our summary for Battle Chasers?
Our summary here is Battle Chasers Night War is a beautiful realization of taking your passion, your history, and your skills to bring back a genre that's been nearly lost to time.
There were like a million commas in that.
I'm scrapping the comma rule. Oh, it's too hard. I don't got time to think of a sentence without commas.
You told me that after I wrote my summaries that I was allowed to use commas.
Well, you're a little overzealous. Hopping in there.
Hey, I had to spur it on. Any last things you want to touch on before we move on?
Yeah, let's just touch on a few things very briefly. Our early 2016 is starting to shape up. Early 2016 is looking more and more like falls of yesteryear. It's crazy. But we got 2 release dates this week. Uncharted 4 is coming March 18th. Confirm that release date. And Naughty Dog is usually pretty good at sticking to their dates once they actually announce one. And Deus Ex Mankind Divided has gotten a release date on the 23rd of February. Both of those games are games I'm excited about. Deus Ex Human Revolution took me by surprise and was surprisingly really good. Especially because I'm not the biggest fan of stealth games because I like basically running around like a crazy person when I play games. Uncharted 4, of course.
I'm glad you added that when I play games because I was ready, man. I was gonna.
That's how I go to work. We got a new character announcement from PAX for Street Fighter V. Rainbow Mika. She's a RR Mika. She's a pro wrestler character. She looks awesome. Her V trigger calls like an assist character, so she's kind of like Marvel vs. Capcom. We already talked a little bit about Street Fighter V pre-order costume. Some are retailer specific, so boo on that kind of stuff.
Oh, we're gonna talk pre-orders.
Yeah, that's about it.
We're gonna talk pre-orders.
Oh yeah, and then I guess one last thing here, just because it's in the show notes. Why not? Machinima, that kind of YouTube gaming kind of media conglomerate, settled with the feds over YouTube marketing at the Xbox One release. Essentially, they were paying their content partners to say good things about Xbox and giving them extra money for it. So that's terrible.
And it does have implications for some of the stuff we were talking about last week with YouTubers not disclosing that they have received financial or other benefits for reviewing a game.
Yeah, so we love to hear the community, the news items you all thought had the biggest impact. This is just a selection of the many we could have talked about this week. So please feel free to shoot us an email at impactfactorpodcast@gmail.com. So now let's get into our special section. Let's put things in perspective.
Perspectives.
Perspectives is part of the show, well, when any number of things can happen. In academia, it's when investigators share their opinions with the community at large. Here, it's a revolving section where we experiment with what's worth discussing. So let's get it started. Like I said last week, this is a revolving section. It's going to revolve more frequently. So, Fliss, what's the revolution?
All right, well, hey, man, it was my turn to pick this week, and after the fun we had last week with thesis defense, I just couldn't let it go.
So not so...
It's not revolving. It's not revolving.
Not really revolving. We made a new door only for it to stay closed.
The carousel has stopped.
All right. So give the folks the introduction to thesis defense.
All right. Well, last week we had a great discussion as Alex attempted to defend his thesis that 2015 is the year that current-gen consoles become a must-buy. It was a lot of fun. I certainly enjoyed it. And this time, it's my turn to make some bold claims and defend them as we bring back thesis defense. So you ready for my thesis?
All right, go for it.
All right, my thesis is that we've reached the tipping point for pre-orders. They aren't good for gamers anymore.
Oh yeah, what a bold hypothesis here, man. What a bold thesis. I've never heard anyone say anything to this extent before.
No, but I have a nuance here that I want you to pay attention to, that I think a lot of people making these similar statements aren't
I've never heard this on the internet. I've never been on any Reddit forums where people weren't saying this.
Yeah, well, you were probably getting all bunched up because you are a notorious pre-orderer.
The
notorious pre-ordering
right.
Alex. What is that, like? The notorious POA? I don't know. That doesn't work really well.
POS.
Hey, I like it. There we go.
Self-bazing.
Samocha. That notorious POS.
Self-bazinga. All right, so what is the official?
The real bazinga was you saying bazinga.
Oh, God.
I'm not going to let that one go.
The horror of bazinga.
Right, so, but getting into my argument.
What's the official thesis? What's the official thesis statement here? Just reiterate it again.
The official thesis statement is that we've reached the tipping point for pre-orders. They aren't good for gamers anymore. Which means that there was a time when they were good.
Oh, I never heard
gamers.
That before. No, okay, we're not going down that rabbit hole.
There was a time when they were good for gamers. And they were good for publishers. But when I say we've reached the tipping point, I mean that things are weighted too far now to the publisher's side. The gamers are not getting enough benefit out of pre-orders for them to work. And I think that there's a lot to talk about here. But what's your initial reaction, Alex?
You heard my initial reaction. It's a very common sentiment among the gaming, at least the online populace of the gaming people. I can't say that I necessarily disagree with the central message of this, which is pre-orders aren't good, but I certainly see weak points in your argument, especially in that you emphasize that, or especially in the fact that you suggest that currently now, like something that recently has happened has pushed us past the point where they used to be good into being no longer good. Whereas I think that that's not true. But I'll let you go through kind of your introduction statement, and then I've got 4 refutations that I'll have you go through.
All right, man, I'm ready for it. Here we go. Okay, so I think that pre-orders, which is to say placing your money down or placing a guarantee that you will pay for a game before it's released, and then usually getting some kind of small bonus content from the publisher for doing this, used to be a good way for publishers to kind of buffer their sales, to like buffer themselves against bad reviews, which may be fair or might not, but to kind of give themselves like a little bit of guaranteed money before a game came out. And it was a way for fans to engage with a game before it came out, to engage with usually a franchise, if we're being honest, an IP that they were excited about before it came out, and to kind of like, throw their nerd cred around, have a little, extra skin or whatever, little piece of bonus content to throw around and be chuffed about. But now we've gotten to the point where the benefit that gamers get, the things that were being offered for pre-ordering, are starting to look a lot like things that really should have been part of the game, or that there's real development time that's being spent getting things ready to try and entice people to pre-order. And while I understand that from a business perspective, as a gamer, it makes me feel like the studios are more about chasing my money than they are about making a game. And that's a little bothersome. And specifically, the moment that really did it in for me, there are two things that happened. And I'm sure you'll have refutations for these, but there are two things that happened. The first thing that happened is Deus Ex announced its unlockable pre-order bonus DLC, where in order to get all the DLC, you had to encourage more people to pre-order. Tiers of pre-order bonuses were unlocked as more people pre-order. And moreover, at each tier, you have to make a choice. And like, you could say like, oh, this is cool, like we're letting you choose what content you want, but it's actually letting you choose what content you want to do without, which is an argument made on an excellent opinion piece over on Polygon that really got me thinking about this. And so what bothers me about Deus Ex specifically is that it's insidious. It's saying, we need you to recruit other people now to pre-order so that you can get more stuff. And look, we came up with this really cool unlockable content thing. It's just like a game, but you're playing it with your money instead of with your fingers. And what that's actually doing is gating off content. And so it's very clear that they have a lot of stuff that is developed, but that they're locking up in not only you pre-ordering, but in you making your friends pre-order. I don't like that at all. And that leads me on to the next thing, which is the Street Fighter V costumes. The skins that are retailer specific. We have 4 skins announced, right? Ryu, Chun-Li, Bison, and Cammy. And these things are locked up to specific retailers. So you only get one, and the one you get is determined by where you pre-order your game. So now, it's not even enough for them to jerk us around and say you gotta pre-order the game. Now they're telling us where we have to buy it. And that makes me really salty. For one thing, that impacts me very deeply because I live in Japan. So when if I'm going to pre-order a game, then I need to pre-order it online. Now, if I looked at those costumes, my first pick would obviously be Hot Ryu, because Hot Ryu. But Hot Ryu. But my second pick would then be Cammy. Third pick would be Chun-Li. After that, I want Bison. But you know what? Of all those retailers, the one that makes sense for me to pre-order it from is Amazon. You know which costume Amazon has? Bison. So not only am I salty because they're telling me, oh, you have to get this skin you don't want and not get these skins you would want, but I'm upset that they have 4 skins, that they're ready to go, and they're locking them up. And I know
4 skins.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
sorry,
that's
man.
Great.
Wrap
Stop everything. That was too good.
Sorry. I was trying to be serious, but I couldn't.
I saw you breaking over.
Street Fighter V has 4 skins.
I guess. God, am I allowed to make a joke about knowing that they're not Jewish? I don't know.
I mean, I think that's enough.
Okay.
But finish your opening statement. I've got a lot to refute here.
Yeah, I'm upset that they are being what I perceive as stingy with the pre-order stuff here, where they're saying, like, if they said to me, we've got these 4 costumes ready to go, and you can pick one of them, or you could pick 2 of them, I would feel better about it. Because, again, that's still gating off content. It's still making you pick what content you don't want. And that's frustrating, but it would be significantly better than these retailer-locked problems. So, we've covered this before. I have no problem paying money for a good product, but I don't like feeling like I'm being jerked around. And this makes me feel...
And this very week, or this month, or what's the time frame of this is the tipping point? Is it this week? Is it this month? Is it this quarter? Or what? When is this tipping point?
I think I'm going to go with it's like this round of game releases. This like big post E3 round of game releases.
Good. I can refute that too. All right. So,
bring it on.
So all right. First refutation here. My first refutation of your thesis statement is that your thesis suggests that there was a time in which pre-orders were ever good for gamers, and I disagree. First things first, pre-orders have always existed to benefit the publishers, the shareholders, and the retail stores, and has never been about the gamers. This is so that they can put in these estimated sales figures, which makes companies, you can factor that into your earnings reports. You can give it to your shareholders to say, look, this upcoming game we have already has X number of pre-orders, and also gives your GameStops and your Fry's or wherever else you get it, this peace of mind. It has never been about the gamers ever, including this point. One of my possible things I could see you say to this is like, well, at least back in the day they used to be good because if you pre-ordered this physical game disc or this physical cartridge, it was good because there'd be limited supply. But in my kind of cursory looking through this, there's been very limited instances of retailers running out of physical product, and so pre-ordering to ensure you get a copy.
Unless it's Amiibo.
Yeah. We're talking about games here, not about amiibos. And you can't. Can you even pre-order amiibos?
You can't.
Yeah, exactly. So even in the old days, it wasn't really ensuring about getting a copy. The pre-ordering wasn't necessary to ensure you got a copy. And as we move forward, even just PS3 360 generation, we're becoming increasingly digital. So now there's even less of a reason. It's been less good for gamers because you can just buy digitally, and there's no shortages. And the final sub-point of this first point is that pre-orders almost never give gamers a good financial benefit as well. I mean, it's not like you pre-order the game at a discounted price, or you do, and like at most I've seen a pre-order discounted to like $5 or something. So this is not a financial reason. So for those reasons, I would argue pre-orders have never been good for gamers. They've always been about the publisher, shareholders, and the retail.
Do you want me to talk about that now, or do you want to keep going?
Yeah, talk about that now.
All right.
Gosh, we're gonna run along with this.
Well, we got all talk about
you can see if you refute any of that.
All right, so can I refute any of that? You're adorable. All right, so first of all,
thanks, man. Thanks.
I think that especially if we want to talk about the early days of pre-orders, I think that the publishers having some sort of buffer on a game was good for gamers at the beginning. It was good for publishers to be able to say, we can expect such and such amount from a game. I agree that has become less and less true over time, especially with the move to digital. I also, agree that the move to digital has been, like, both good for gamers in convenience, but has been bad in terms of, like, the removal of physical copies where you could just hand your game to a friend when you were done with it, which I think is very powerful. So there was a time when gamers supporting the industry by pre-ordering was important. I think that time is long past, but at the beginning I think that's why pre-orders were good for gamers. I also think that when you had a lot of small stores carrying games, back in the days when we still had like Blockbuster and Hollywood Video, and when we had like a lot of GameStops and that was the primary way you got games, I think that giving those retailers a little bit of a buffer was good. It was good for us, and especially I say this about those small places because giving Target a buffer, giving Walmart a buffer, like, screw those guys. They don't need that. But when GameStop, before it went like even worse, like it is now, it was a place that people did go to like talk games and hang out a little bit. And those places were kind of safe spaces for gamers before gaming became kind of a more public thing. And I think that was valuable. I think keeping those physical brick buildings at that time was important. And I think supporting the retailer there was very much more of an onus on the gamer to do that.
Okay, fair enough. Again, we're not going to go back and forth about everything because that'd take too long. But in your refutation of my refutation here, it brings up my second argument against your thesis.
How convenient.
That pre-orders have been in their current state for several years. You say about how this the time that you're talking about was at latest, or at latest in this timeline, maybe early 2000s. So it's been like a decade since then. And so what makes now the tipping point? Like, it seems that one particularly egregious pre-order campaign is spurring on your argument, whereas the pre-order system has been like this for a long time. There's always been this exclusive content, this retailer locked off content, and this kind of even story, kind of significant content going all the way back to PS3 360. Call of Duty as an example, but any kind of AAA release has been doing this for years now. And so the games haven't been good for a long... pre-orders haven't been good for gamers in a long time, even by your own, argument against my refutation. And then it just seems like the things that you're concerned about here in my second refutation is that now, as a tipping point, is solely based upon one particularly egregious pre-order campaign with Deus Ex: Mankind Divided.
Well, I will admit that I am spurred on by Deus Ex. That to say anything else would not be fair, but I think that what Deus Ex represents to me is it represents a particularly bold moment where it's great that we've been making jokes about the Big Bang Theory to lead into this point. Because the Big Bang Theory packages up nerd culture. I hate to say that, but it's I don't know how else to describe it. It packages up kind of like nerdy, geeky culture, and then sells it as something to be made fun of, but then sells it back to nerds. So it is like super insidious in what it does. And so in the same way, what Deus Ex is doing here is they're packaging up game content, and they're packaging it as something good. Even though, like, it's clearly development time that should have been spent elsewhere. Or content that should have been included on the disc. And I know this is hazy. I know it's hard to define what content would have been included. But when I think about DLC, I think about continuing support for a game. I think about a model like Rocksmith, where they are literally developing DLC. The DLC that is being released this week was not even like a glimmer in a developer's eyes when the game was released. And I think about continuing support. I think about making a game last. I think about DLC as letting me pay to continue my enjoyment of a game. And so if DLC is something that a developer has made, if something that they were able to budget the time to make before the game, and they want to release it at the time, like we've talked about the on-disc DLC, like first day DLC, and you're right, this is things that have been happening. We talked about this with Street Fighter before,
and I mean, it calls to mind one of the most kind of egregious examples of recent years was Dead Space 3, but that was several years ago because they had like the day one DLC and a bunch of microtransactions on day one. So I mean, this has been going on for years now.
Right. So I guess I'm willing to make a compromise with you.
Aha! I'm already destroying the thesis.
Oh please. I'm willing to make a compromise with you that pre-orders have, like, this process started quite some time ago. But I think it's in this moment that it has become so egregious. It is being packaged in such a way that is clear that the publishers, because I don't want to say the developers, but the publishers.
Yeah, it's almost always the publishers.
And I don't want to conflate those. The publishers have so little respect for their audience that they're packaging things in a way that is, like, blatantly disrespectful. And that's when the publisher no longer respects you, the customer. And maybe that happened a long time ago. But when they're just, like, flagrantly disrespecting you, that's the tipping point. That's what makes me want to stand up and say stop. Like, before I'd been happy to rant about it a little bit, to say pre-orders are bad, blah, 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 but I guess if you're going to pre-order, it's your money. But, like, now I feel like somebody else pre-ordering Deus Ex hurts me. Because it encourages other people to do that. If the Deus Ex pre-order scheme is successful, other developers will do that crap. And that hurts me. Now we're at the point where gamers are being asked to hurt other gamers in the way they support a publisher. And that is totally unacceptable.
All right. We've heard that, and let's try to get through these other two quickly. So my third point here is that almost always the pre-order incentives that you're mad about, Fliss, and that most people are mad about don't matter. So in most instances, the content is released for everyone shortly after the game actually comes out, and so a lot of this exclusive content, this retailer exclusive content, the pre-order day one stuff, you'll be able to get for, whatever the cost of it, sometimes it's egregious, sometimes it's not so bad, relatively quickly after the game comes out. So it only matters for those first, month or two after the game comes out. And for someone like you especially, who doesn't even get games usually when they first release, it doesn't really matter. It's a moot point for a lot of people who aren't like day one acquirers of new games. Additionally, usually the content is just cosmetic, so it doesn't really affect your play experience at all on their extras. These things, and you mentioned these are being worked on, they should be in the game, but a lot of times you work on a game, they go to cert, they have to troubleshoot, they go to do bug fixing, they go to cert, the game is done. But after going to cert, they still have to go through, internal certs, certifications at where the consoles they want to be published on, going through the hullabaloo, the marketing campaign, but they want to have the game done before they go through all that. And so you are sitting there for a couple months, usually, with nothing else to do. So they start working on this content that they do have ready day one because they've finished that. So I don't think that is necessarily always a true argument, though sometimes, I agree with you, sometimes the content is like, well, that really should have been included. But again, a lot of that's usually cosmetic. It doesn't really affect your play experience. It's just little bonuses. And then many times, this exclusive, the really, truly insidious content you mentioned, the one that's inaccessible and you really can't ever get to it, is more dependent on what console the game releases on rather than pre-ordering. So these retailer-specific ones, and those are all well and good, but it's really like in Batman Arkham Knight, they have these Scarecrow exclusive missions, which were whatever. They're kind of dumb. It's just like a Batmobile section. But those are only on PlayStation. And so if I were a PC, I'd be crying right now if I were a PC owner for Batman Arkham Knight, period. They just put up a patch and then pulled it. So the game is still in a broken state, months now after release. But if I were an Xbox One owner, I'd still be salty because I never would have gotten to play it. And that's not due to pre-ordering or any of these things. That's due to this console exclusivity. And then I guess because we need to wrap this up, I'll go to my last point here too. So again, that third point is almost always the pre-order incentives that you're mad about, and most people are mad about, don't matter. And then the fourth, if anything, I think we're just in the most extreme time of pre-orders. Both these blatantly terrible ones, but also some really awesome ones. And I think in some ways you can look at it as it's the best time for pre-orders for gamers. Because back in the day, what did you get with pre-ordering a game? You get a sticker set, the strategy guide, some random nonsense, some discount on some other game that you would buy from GameStop. Whereas now you can get these cool cosmetic bonuses that are hand created by developers that they can give to you by DLC. They can, because we have the digital system, they can give it to you, as well as access to betas. Like the Street Fighter V, you complain about the pre-order system. The pre-order system is awesome. It's getting me 15 hours, a 3-part 3-part 15 total days of hands-on with the game before it releases. That's awesome. That's it's unreal.
Yeah, hold on. I gotta
jump
in.
Experience
I gotta
with
jump in real fast, and I'm gonna let you finish. But the thing is, with what you're talking about with a beta, they should be running betas anyway. They shouldn't be releasing broken games. A beta is something that they should be happy to have us participate in, and that we should be happy to get to participate in. But I don't buy that I need to lay down money to do playtesting that they need to do anyway. I'm happy to do it. I want to do it. I want to be a part of that, but I don't want to be taken advantage for having that desire.
Yeah, but then there's no good solution to that too. They can't have a open, huge public beta until very close to the game's release because it's simply not going to be ready for that. And then that's all other betas before that. It's going to be based on luck. So what, you would rather throw your coin into a hat with tens of thousands of other coins, hoping yours gets drawn so you get beta access?
Look,
this is a way to show that you're interested in the game. And if you pre-order on Amazon, you could cancel it if nothing else, and gets you guaranteed access.
Yeah, but
I agree that they should have public open beta for these online games. This is a way to kind of curate the people who are most interested in the game to give them the access, so you're not hope I get lucky.
Okay, but in that case, fine. Then
we
could say that having a beta as a pre-order is a win-win for them and for the people who want to do the beta. But that's not a bonus because they're winning from it. That's not something that we're getting out of that. That's something that they need a way to cull down their beta pool anyway. I want to be part of the beta. I want to be part of the beta, but they need me to be part of the beta. Or they need people who
but
are
they
interested.
They don't need you to be part of the beta, because we live in a world... We live in a world where you can patch a game. They don't need to be part of the beta. They want to have a beta so they have a better launch, but it's Street Fighter. The game's going to sell anyway. They could have done no betas and just released a game that's buggy at experience, and it takes a month for them to fix it, and people still would have bought it because it's Street Fighter.
Street Fighter 4
they could have done that. Yeah, well, exactly. That's because, I mean, a different company did that. That was more porting issues. The online worked fine, just the input, like the structural systems. But what I'm talking about here is a lot of games. Battlefield 4 did it. They didn't have a beta. They released it, and people still bought the game, even though it was broken for like 2 months.
Yeah, but we shouldn't be accepting that either. We shouldn't be accepting games.
I'm not saying we should be accepting that, but I'm saying by having these incentives for pre-orders, you create a better space. And this is more than you would have gotten like in an earlier time. And so I think the rewards on average are better. And so I think these rewards, especially these cosmetic ones that don't really affect anything, are good for gamers. So sure, some are bad, but others, aren't bad for gamers at all. So again, most of the content is inconsequential. So in the end, I don't think it matters that much. Now, again, I'm being very passionately against you. For the most part, I agree with you. This whole pre-order nonsense is overall bad, I would say now. But I think there's a way you can look at it, whereas we're among just the most dynamic and the most extreme time for pre-orders. You've got these really, really awful ones like Deus Ex Mankind Divided, but you have these truly, fan-appreciative ones. Maybe not Street Fighter V because it has the other nonsense, but there are games where it really rewards people for, being devoted. And I'm not saying, of course, like I said in my first refutation, these have always been about the publishers and the shareholders and the retail. This has never been about gamers. But now they're giving gamers more substantial things than they ever have.
Okay, but here's the thing with those cosmetic items. If we're going to talk about things that you're going to buy anyway, I'm going to buy the cosmetic items for Street Fighter V anyway. I am a total gentleman of the night for skins, for costumes, for fighting games. I love them. I think they're great. I spent a load of time in Soul Calibur just in the costume designer. That game is a costume simulator with a fighting game in it for me. And that's awesome. So to me, getting a costume that I want, getting a costume that I care about, represents a discount. That represents me getting something ahead of time.
I just think you're wrong. A lot of people aren't going to do these microtransactions for $60 games. If you're going to buy the game anyway, you're getting one of these things for free. So you're basically arguing you want to spend more money. You want to buy a $60 game when it releases, and then pay money for this content that you would have gotten for free by pre-ordering.
Yeah, but the problem with the pre-order then is that, yeah, sure, fine. Yeah, you can say, okay, not everybody's going to buy all the costume packs, and that's fair. That's fair. But if you want to get something for free, if you want to get something out of it, if you're going to get something out of the pre-order, right, and they're going to jerk you around with, you got to get it from this retailer to get this skin, to me, that's extremely frustrating, because they're saying, if you are going to buy it anyway, we're going to actually inconvenience you, right, because of the way they bundled their DLC packs, because of the way they bundled the different costumes together. We're going to make you get, a free skin that you're probably going to have to re-buy later if you want to get a different costume. And if you're not going to buy everything, if you are just looking to pick up something nice, we're going to really use that against you to control where you're putting your money. It's it's not even enough to get my money. You have to control how I get my money. And that's ridiculous.
All right, well, I'll let you have the last word. We agree to disagree on some of these things. But again, I'm also playing a little bit of devil's advocate here. I think the pre-order system is a little messed up. This has gone extremely long. One of us is long-winded, and it's not me. So that's
bullcrap.
That was
bullcrap.
That was Fliss's thesis defense. His thesis was we've reached the tipping point for pre-orders, and they aren't good for gamers anymore. I refuted it. Let us know what you think. That's Impact Factor Podcast at impactfactorpodcast@gmail.com. But now that our work is done and logged, a very long work, let's get into our experimental methods.
Experimental methods.
In experimental methods, Fliss and I talk about the video games we've been playing recently. No papers or pipettes, cells, or census here, just our words. We look at what works, what doesn't, and we're looking forward to testing. So, Fliss, what experiments have you been running this week?
Well, my experiment this week is not so much a game as it is an experience. And that's that I started streaming for the first time.
Hey, nice.
Yeah, so I streamed some Rocket League, had a great time, got a follower. Shout out to her. Appreciate it.
Nice.
And it was very interesting. Playing a game with commentary, kind of playing a stream when you're alone is strange. It's a lot more fun when there are people there with you. So hopefully as I stream more, I'll get to interact with more people out there. And it was nerve-wracking, definitely, to have my gameplay up there for people to see. It was also very exciting. It was a very good experience. And streaming is not something that I ever really considered until I saw you give it a go with your Spelunky streams. And I'm really glad that I dipped my toes into it. It's something I want to try again.
Nice. So you're streaming Rocket League, right? So tell the folks where they can find you on Twitch.
Yeah, man. So if you're interested, please check me out. Fliss of the North Star on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Fliss of the North Star. And it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna keep streaming some Rocket League. I might stream some other stuff. I had some great stuff happen while I was streaming Rocket League. So including an invisible ball own goal, which was awesome. To say that the game gave me credit for that goal. I felt that's probably the coolest goal I've ever scored.
Yeah, you hit an invisible ball off of an enemy teammate into their own goal. So
it was all skill.
It's all skill. It's awesome.
But you've been playing some awesome games. What are you running?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna have to cut one of these for time, but I'll get to it next week. I swear I'll get to it. It's a very interesting, and I got a lot to say about it, so I'll keep it short. One of the games I've been playing is Pac-Man 256. This is a mobile title, a partnership between Hipster Whale, the developers of Crossy Road, and Bandai Namco Canada, or Bandai Namco in Vancouver. And basically, it's a mobile game. I played it on Android. It's an endless runner in which you play as Pac-Man going through the maze, and you're advancing from the bottom of the screen to the top of the screen, chomping pellets, chomping the dots, eating power pellets, dodging and or killing ghosts until you get a high score. It's inspired by this map 256 glitch, in which you had these like random jumbled up kind of rainbow colored numbers that would make half the screen inaccessible and would also kill you. Here, it's like kind of the leading edge of the bottom of the screen. So if you go too slow and get caught up too much, this little glitch wave will kill you. It's a pretty simplistic title. Again, it's just your standard Pac-Man gameplay. You're just swiping through the maze. Power pellets will let you eat ghosts. They've got certain power-up items you can collect, like a laser that like shoots in front of you and will kill ghosts to increase your score multiplier. You can eat fruit, which will increase your score multiplier. Different kind of things. But that's basically the sum total of the gameplay. Each ghost has a different movement pattern. So like Pinky will kind of stay where it's located in the map until it sees you, and then it'll really rush at you fast. So you can't really run away from it.
I like that.
They've got these sleeping ghosts that, if you avoid them, they'll stay asleep. But if you get close to them, they'll hound you for a while until you get far enough away from them. Clyde and Inky kind of like patrol certain areas. And so there's interesting things to think about as you're playing the game. I did a review for it over on the blog, theimpactfactor.blogspot.com. But ultimately I found that this is a game that couldn't hold my interest for more than 5, maybe 10 minutes at a time. And they weren't the best 5 to 10 minutes I've ever had on a smartphone. And so, above all,
I can only imagine what the best 5 to 10 minutes you had on a smartphone
are. So overall, it's a game that I'd love to recommend because it takes an IP and does interesting things with it. I think Hipster Whale did a great job with Crossy Road. That's one of the better kind of time waster mobile games. But in the end, like despite the beautiful aesthetic, the beautiful sounds, the partnership with Bandai Namco really came clear here that they got all of this classic Pac-Man look. The voxel look is really kind of beautiful. But in the end, the game just isn't that fun. But I want to give shout-outs to Bandai Namco Canada, their Vancouver studio. They read my review and sent me a message on Twitter about it, so thanking me for my honest review. So really shout-out to them for giving me time to read, and, of course, I don't think anything worse of Bandai Namco or Hipster Whale for Pac-Man 256. It just unfortunately didn't really grab my attention in a way that I expected it to, because this is a game that got a lot of word of mouth from people. Like, a lot of game devs, a lot of game writers were like, oh man, Pac-Man 256 is crazy, my score, blah, blah, blah. So,
just
a little bit
not your game.
that. Just not my game. But, I guess as a point of disclosure, I've never been a big fan of Pac-Man. Even, like, in the arcades playing Miss Pac-Man, it's always been like, I'll play almost any other game over, like, a Miss Pac-Man cabinet, so...
You have a problem with being
it could be my own bias, too. Or any Pac-Man game.
Sorry, I couldn't help but review there.
And then, unfortunately, it just closed on Tuesday. The Street Fighter V beta, the first full beta, is now done. There's 2 more left for people who've pre-ordered. I was having a hell of a time at first. This is probably much longer than we have time to get into here. But I was getting annihilated online.
Whoa, already?
Just destroyed, like nonstop. I was getting, because there were like a lot of these like server stress tests before like the full like beta went live, so a lot of people have been playing for a lot of days that I just was playing other games, and so I was just I lost like 10 straight or something. Ooh. And I was like, oh god, is this gonna be like Street Fighter 4 again, where I just can't ever freaking win a game? I was getting so mad. But then I just kind of took a step back, took like a day off, cooled and collected myself, picked up Ryu, because I'm like, all right, I need to go back to the basics here. I was trying to play as Nash, who's like one of the more skill-intensive characters. I found an easy target combo with him early, so that's why I was like, I'll play as Nash. But then I went to training mode and hit up a lot of like trying to do basic combos with Ryu, watched some videos of people online, just as like kind of bread and butter combos. Tried to stay more calm online. I still don't like playing Street Fighter on a pad. The six button fighters on a pad just don't really work well for me. I don't like having to press the shoulder buttons as like normal attacks.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But it kind of clicked more to me, and then I'd say by the end of the beta, I was about 50-50 wins losses.
All right.
So
making progress.
I mean, their matchmaking for this beta they'll just match you with the quickest person who has the best connection. So, like, you get a certain number of experience points for winning a match, which is usually somewhere in the 500 to 1,000 points for winning a match. But like, I went a lot of games without winning, so I had like 100 experience points just from like all the little experience I got from losing. And I matched against people who had like 37,000 experience points. I'm like, oh god, this is gonna be
rough.
Here
we go again. Yeah, no, I'm sure the matchmaking will get better as they go along.
But I really ended up. At first, I was like, oh god, is this just gonna be another Street Fighter that like I love the idea, I love the base, I love everything about it, except that I'm terrible at it. But I think this is a game that really rewards you for just kind of understanding your moves, understanding your opponent's moves, because everything does so much damage in this game. It's crazy. Like, Ryu has a basic combo: light punch, medium punch, heavy kick, so it's easy to get into, and it does like 35% of a health bar.
Awesome.
Which is crazy. Like, you're dead so fast, which also means that if someone's better than you, this is true. It has always been true in fighting games, but the better player will win. But here, it's especially true. The better player is always going to win, like without fail, because the damage is so high.
That's exactly what you want
can be from
a game that's going to go to tournaments.
It is, but it's going to be a little discouraging when you're playing online. Like, if someone's better than you, you're probably going to get massacred.
In other words, my body is not ready.
No, yeah. So, but I mean, I had a really downtime on it. Like, I was really down on the game. I was like, man, maybe I should cancel my pre-order, blah, blah, blah. But I'm back in it. I really want to try out Street Fighter V. I know it's a game that I'm going to play. Even if I suck, I'll probably still be better than Fliss, so.
No way. No way. Not on Street Fighter. Marvel vs. Capcom, yeah, no, I can't touch you on that. But Street Fighter, I'm going to get better than you at Street Fighter.
Yeah, because that's the frustrating thing for me. Like, I was actually, like, legitimately pretty good at Marvel vs. Capcom.
You were good.
Like, I was just shy of the online rank that a lot of like people who would go to tournaments would be at. So like, I don't think like and especially since it's been a long time, I don't think I could show up to a tournament now and not just go 0-2 and be eliminated. But there was a time that I would say that I was good, quotation fingers here, good at Marvel vs. Capcom. Certainly not on the pro level, but odds are most people that I would encounter who had like played it, I would be able to like beat pretty handily.
Yeah, man.
So that's why it's great. That's why it's more frustrating with Street Fighter, because like I want it to be like that for Street Fighter, but
it's just going to take more practice, and that's all that fighting games are, right? It's practice, and then learning your footsies, learning your fundamentals, and then being able to just physically input your combos.
Exactly. So I had a lot of fun though with the beta. It was good not to try and play it nonstop, just take breaks and play other stuff with it. They announced that the beta's concluded, and they're going to announce the second phase of the beta at some time in the future. I'm excited to try out more characters, because a lot have been announced since. Because the beta was just Ryu, Chun-Li, Nash, Bison, Cammy, and Birdie. So there's been a lot of announcements since then. I think it could be really fun to try Nikali or the new Vega. Certainly Armika looks really fun. So I'm looking forward to the future ends of the beta. That was really fun. So Pac-Man 256 and the Street Fighter V beta, the games I've been playing recently, amongst many others.
Well, man.
So let's finish this up with errata.
Yeah, I was going to say, we gotta keep going, kind of wrap this up. We've gone long and everything tonight, which I think has been fun. I've certainly enjoyed it. Something else I'm really enjoying right now is Sons of Anarchy. It's on Netflix. I just started from season 1, and it's been really good. It's an intense show. It's kind of I don't want to say hyper violent, but it's very violent. But I haven't yet to find it voyeuristic, which means a lot to me. So any other Sons of Anarchy fans out there, or people watching it, people who have thoughts about it, let me know. Let's talk.
I'm a fan of Charlie Hunnam's butt. He's got a big butt. Apparently this is a thing.
I did not know that was a thing.
You haven't seen his nude butt yet? There's this gif that I always see of Charlie Hunnam from Sons of Anarchy where you see his nude butt. And it's pretty juicy. It's like a pretty round, juicy butt.
I did see his butt.
Yeah, exactly. He's got a big, juicy butt,
really
apparently.
Distracted by the girl that he was with in that scene.
I've just seen the gif of his butt, so I haven't actually...
Was that part of the best 5 to 10 minutes that you've ever had on a smartphone?
Yes.
Excellent, man. Yeah, no, but...
Hey, man, I gotta give props to my juicy butt brothers. Some of us just unfortunately have a lot of junk in our trunks as guys.
I've seen your butt. You don't have a lot of juice in that butt. Unless you've been juicing.
You have not seen you haven't seen my butt recently. I've got to say.
Are you juicing your butt, Alex?
I'm getting weird visuals here.
I don't want to explore that any further. But no, I started watching Sons of Anarchy because I'm a huge fan of Ron Perlman's work. Especially Hellboy.
Pacific Rim.
Anything with Del Toro.
So, this might interest you. The creator of Sons of Anarchy is creating a new show for FX called The Bastard Executioner, which is like some kind of gritty fantasy thing and something about someone who's an executioner, I assume. I'm not sure if he's a bastard who is an executioner or if he's an executioner who kills bastards, but...
Oh, the beauty of English and adjectives.
The title is confusing.
I would assume that he is a bastard who is also an executioner.
That would be my assumption, but maybe you should keep an eye out for that, because that's coming this fall.
I've got 7 seasons of Sons of Anarchy.
Oh my god.
I'll be busy for a while.
Speaking of errata, there was an announcement that came, I think it was out of PAX. I don't know. I think it was out of PAX. That Amazon has now secured the rights and is working on developing a Galaxy Quest TV show.
You know, I read this, I saw this, and I am nervous.
I'm nervous too. I'm very confused too, because for those who don't know, Galaxy Quest is one of those movies that if you walked by like in a Blockbuster, you'd be like, "Oh God, I'm never gonna watch this." It just looks like some cheap ripoff of Star Wars. It was actually like a pretty genuine, touching, and funny riff on the classic, Star Trek, or Star Trek, or the classic, or Star Trek Next Generation. They really played with that, and they really respected the fans of those respective properties and kind of showed the power of the fans in those things. It's it's kind of a really sweet take on, slash mock, slash kind of friendly mocking of Star Trek and the fandom.
If we were going to bring up Big Bang Theory again, it is the opposite of that. Right?
Exactly. It's actually like respectful to the property and the fans. Where it's not just like, hey guys, did you know that Batman and Mr. Freeze and Bazinga, you like me now because I referenced stuff that's cool, right, guys? Oh man, so what if the Flash was like fighting the Hulk and then all of a sudden like the Death Star came in and then the theory of relativity and Einstein shows up and then Superman comes in and he wins because Superman's God, Bazinga.
I mean, that was the 5-second summary of The Big Bang Theory. Wrapped up by Alex Samocha here you heard it here on the Impact Factor.
I swear, that's like a real joke. Is like, wow, the pizza got here fast, guys. Ha 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 ha, laugh track. Yeah, pretty much the Flash delivered it.
Yeah, no, that's totally true. That's why I hate that show so much.
He mentioned the Flash. Oh my god.
Hey Ma, we're Jewish, laugh track.
Oh, that's a classic Flash joke. But anyway, yeah, I'm nervous about Galaxy because it seems weird. Like the movie was a perfect little contained vessel to like talk, vessel to talk, not vassal, vessel to talk about,
Yes, I have my sci-fi vassal, my fantasy vassal.
What would you like me to talk about today, Lord? A little bit of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I'm in a particularly Battlestar Galactica mood.
I wish none of your Battlestar Galactica. I wish a humorous soliloquy about Klingon honor.
Yeah, but it makes me nervous because I don't know what more they could say with a Galaxy Quest TV show that they didn't say in the movie.
Yeah, and the movie was so good, but it is the original creators.
So there's a chance, something to keep an eye on at the very least.
Yeah, man. Well, we'll have to keep an eye on that and a lot of things. But hey, thanks for sticking with us through this episode. It's been a lot of fun. Keep in touch. Tell us if you are interested in the Galaxy Quest TV show. Let Alex know that you think pre-orders are awful and he's a bad person for participating in them.
I don't think that that's. I just say that argument that the tipping point is. Oh my God, you're wrong. I win.
Relax. It's gonna be all right. We're gonna make it. You made a very good argument.
Thank you.
Give credit where credit's due.
You don't have to tell me. I know.
Oh! You're supposed to say you also made a very good argument, Alex, because I did.
Yours is weak and full.
It's called manners.
All right, your arguments were okay.
By okay, he means great. Better than mine is what he meant to say.
Anyway, tell the folks where they can find you.
You can talk to me on Twitter. It's at the CFliss. That's at THECFLISS. Also, check out my blog, Fliss of the North Star, for my thoughts on pop culture, Japan, and more. It's September, and that means the blog is back. The first post went up Thursday night here in Japan, which is Thursday morning in the United States. Check it out. I told the story of a night out on the town through pictures of the food we ate. We had some incredible food and drinks. Sushi that'll make you believe in God. Check it out at flissofthenorthstar.blogspot.com. I'm also happy to tell all these stories gamer to gamer. So come hang out with me on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/flissofthenorthstar. Stop on by. We'll have a good time.
Awesome. Yeah, his stream's pretty good. His stream's pretty nice. He's got a quality stream. If you want to see some mediocre Rocket play, look no further.
I think by mediocre, I'm going to translate again for Alex here. By mediocre, he means terrible.
Okay, yeah, I was being a little generous. But he's an engaging host, so check him out. So thank you, everyone, for spending time with us. If you're hearing this now, chances are you found it on our SoundCloud. That's soundcloud.com/theimpactfactor. Please favorite and repost there. That really helps people find us. But please also look us up on the iTunes Store, and you can subscribe there to get direct downloads of the episode each week. Reading us and writing a review does so much for discoverability, and we really appreciate everyone who's done that so far. Please, if you haven't and you listen to this podcast, if you've ever listened to it once, please write us a review.
We really appreciate it.
But speaking of, we really appreciate it. We got a new one. This is from our old friend Bloxidus.
Oh man, the representative of the PC gamers.
The representative of the PC gamers, one-time host, Bloxidus, wrote us an iTunes review. Thank you so much, bud. We got a 5 out of 5. He writes, the casters are insightful without being pretentious. I think maybe he's just writing about me, not about you. The pretension, I think, is pretty... and the dynamic is fun.
Well, now he's writing
to.
about me, because clearly I bring the fun.
Needs more guest casters, though, and I agree. All I can say on that is please stay tuned and please be excited. Stuff are in the works to bring on more guest casters. We got some positive feedback. I like the dynamic with 3 people, so...
It was a lot of fun.
Stay tuned.
So please be excited for more guest casters.
I mean, anything so I have to talk to Fliss less. That's ideal.
And just someone to get this guy to be quiet for a while, because, good lord, get him started and he goes and goes and goes.
So thank you so much, Bloxidus, for the iTunes review. That was a 5 out of 5 review. Please, 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 again, leave us a review on iTunes. But for an archive of our old episodes, check us out on YouTube by searching the Impact Factor video games or checking the link in the description. The Impact Factor is an extension of my blog about video games, theimpactfactor.blogspot.com. Check there every Tuesday for a new reviewer article. This week, again, I reviewed Pac-Man 256 on the Android operating system on Samsung Galaxy S5, I believe it was. And then check there every Friday for my curation of the best written pieces from the world of gaming. And that's a section I call News and Views. I'm also posting all of my videos that I put onto YouTube there as well. So check it out if you're ever interested. I streamed Hearthstone last night. So that brings me into my other thing. Please check out my Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Megalodon, like the shark, PhD. All one word. I'm starting to stream more regularly. So I should be streaming most Wednesdays and Thursday nights. So I'll tweet it out. That's at my Twitter, Alex Samocha. That's Alex Samocha, like the coffee. But check it out. Come hang out. Watch Hearthstone. I'll be streaming other stuff. Maybe I'll stream some Go Grow Home or maybe some Super Time Force Ultra. Who knows? Got a lot to play. Got a lot to stream. So check out there. So until next time, make an impact.